First, let me introduce myself to you. I'm Rajesh. I have nearly 10 years of experience in this UI development and designing, and I have 4 plus years of experience in this Angular.js. What are all the objectives of this session? First one is we have to learn what is Angular.js and why do we need to use this Angular.js in our application. And if I learn this Angular.js, what are all the opportunities I will be getting? Then the next one is why should I learn this AngularJS? Because there are more MVC frameworks are available. Then what is the advantage in it? So you have to know why are we learning this AngularJS and what are all the features we have in this AngularJS. Next one. So who are all using this AngularJS? So almost everyone knows this AngularJS is a Google's product. So obviously YouTube is also the Google's product, so they should be use this AngularJS. The main thing is the YouTube is using this AngularJS latest version in their PlayStations, and the Paytm, everyone knows about it. Netflix is movies and this US shows, everything you can watch it in the Netflix. These guys are using this AngularJS framework in the client side. Okay, where do they use this AngularJS in their project? So if you are building a web application, for the web application, you have to use some kind of JavaScript framework to write your custom validations and other stuff. Over there in the client side, they are using this AngularJS to make this application to look better and give the rich user functionalities. Okay, so why do we need to learn AngularJS? So before we learn this AngularJS, we have to know, okay, do we have the opportunities? Because if we have more JavaScript frameworks outside like Ember, Backbone. So if we get opportunities through this AngularJS, then only we'll go for it. This AngularJS officially released on 2009. If you see now that most of the projects are using this AngularJS because of this feature, and job trends, it's awesome because each and every client side application, if you need AngularJS, they are looking for the AngularJS developer. So even we have the more global opportunities, each and every big firms like TCS, Wipro and other stuff, they are looking for the AngularJS UI developer with this AngularJS knowledge. So everyone is working for the money, so we know that. So okay, if we learn this AngularJS, do we get the more opportunities by the salary? Of course, yes. If you see, it is really hot in US market and as well as in the India market, because all the rich web applications, they are using this AngularJS. Okay, so we have a n number of applications, JavaScript web applications in market. So these are all the popular ones. One is Angular.js, Backbone.js and the Ember.js. Okay. So first you have to compare. Before you choose particular application, we should be able to know why am I going to use this application. Okay. The first one, if you ask me why am I choosing this AngularJS is, there are more modules are available, custom modules. I can say nearly 30,000 modules are available in this AngularJS. But if you see it in the Backbone or Ember, we have very less. We can say like 300 or just 350 modules available in this Ember.js. So what is the use of these modules? Whenever we need to build a particular web application, we can't build everything from the scratch. So we need some kind of custom components. For example, I want to build a drag and drop some container. I don't want to write the code from the scratch itself. So what we will be doing, we will be just whatever the module available in the market, we will take it and we will include it in the application. In this way, if we have more modules in this AngularJS, so it will be helpful for the developers to build this application in quick time. And the next one is, there are more contributors for this AngularJS. You can say nearly 30,000 contributors are there in AngularJS. So if you are getting any doubts, you can ask in any forum. We will be getting quick reply for this your queries. That is really helpful. Most of the developers will be posting the queries in Angular Stack Exchange or Stack Manager over there, these kind of Stack Overflow sites. So we'll be getting the answers in very short time whenever you're using AngularJS, because there are more contributors. So mostly they will be facing these kind of troubles, so they may face, so they can answer it very quickly. And in this this AngularJS doesn't need any other dependencies. If you see Backbone.js or Ember.js, it needs jQuery, _JS and the handlebar.js. But in AngularJS, there is no dependency. It will work alone in your application. Whenever you want to build a client-side application, just you can have only this AngularJS plugin itself. That's more than enough. And routing. So what does it mean by routing? Routing means navigating from one page to next page. So for example, each and every website will be having tabs. Let's say I have a home tab, about tab and the contacts tab. So if I want to navigate between the tabs, what I will be doing, okay, so we will be having a route parameters. With the route parameters, we have to load the different views. That is really simple in AngularJS compared to Backbone and the Ember. The next one is testing. Whenever developer builds an application, they should be able to write their unit test cases, as well as we should give some option to test this application, like automation, everything. In this AngularJS, we have an awesome test support. If we have this protector with the Selenium, we can write end-to-end automated testing in this AngularJS. Yeah, I got a question from Jeff. What about the performance metrics? Okay. So this AngularJS is a very lightweight component. It's not like Ember or Backbone. Maximum I can say it is just a 36 KB of size whenever you are using a min version. So it definitely won't affect your performance. It will load it will load in the application very quick time. And each and every directives we are using in the AngularJS, that is really lightweight. So for example, we can write a click event in AngularJS as well as in the Backbone or Ember.js. So whenever I call this event, it won't take not more than 0.01 microseconds. But Ember and this Backbone will take more time. So performance, you need not to worry about this AngularJS. It is really awesome. Yeah. Again, I got one more question from Ravi called the data binding. Yes. Okay. So what is this data binding? Whenever we get a particular data object from the server, we have to bind it in the UI. AngularJS giving the two-way binding support, so you need not to worry about this. So normally if you use jQuery or any other frameworks, you have to read the data and bind it in the HTML like dollar, that particular class or ID, that value of something. But here you need not to do. Whenever you update your model, it automatically updates the view. So this data binding is really simple in this AngularJS. Did I answer your question, Ravi? Okay. Yeah. And we have one more question from Vengat. If I want to use Bootstrap along with AngularJS, can I go with that? Yes, of course, you can go with that. So in the AngularJS itself, they have created one module for Bootstrap. Normally we know if we want to use Bootstrap, we need the jQuery support. But this AngularJS doesn't have any other jQuery support over here. Okay. So if you want to use the Bootstrap, you can include a module called Bootstrap UI. You just include the module as a dependency inside your application. You can access all the Bootstrap functionalities like your pop-up, pop-over, accordion, everything. CSS, that doesn't matter with this AngularJS JavaScript framework, so it will accommodate with that. Okay, and we have one more question. Like just the Vasan want me to explain this dependency once again. Okay, so over here, what does it mean by dependency? We have two things. you should not confuse dependency injection with dependencies. Dependency means if I want to load this Angular.js, I need some other JavaScript library dependencies. Okay, it will work along with that one only. For example, if I want to use the Bootstrap, I have to use the jQuery library. Then only it will work proper. In the same way, Backbone, I need the jQuery. Ember, I need the handlebar. But Angular.js, we don't need any other dependencies. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Then this mobile app. Ravi is asking one more question. Will it support in the mobile app? Yes, of course. It will support in the mobile app also. So what Angular.js will support in all the devices like mobile, tablet and the laptops. So it will get support everywhere. Okay. Yes. One more good question from Vignesh. Will it support in IE browser? Each and every UI developer knows about it. IE, if you want to build some particular latest web application with IE, that is really difficult. But this Angular.js supports in IE 9 plus. So it is supported, not in this IE 7 or IE 8. Okay. So I got a question from Shahil called, suppose I use Twitter Bootstrap and its dependencies on jQuery, hope it's not conflict the jQuery file. Okay, this is what I'm telling. Whenever you want to use the Twitter Bootstrap application with Angular.js, instead of including our Bootstrap file, you can include it as a dependency injection. They have created a Bootstrap module, so you can include that with our application. But if you want to include the just normal Twitter Bootstrap file with jQuery, that doesn't matter. It won't have any other conflict. We can use it together. Okay, I am getting one more question from Jeff. I read Angular.js v2 is going to be completely different from 1.3. Does it make sense to learn? Yes. See, this v2 is somewhat different, but it is not totally different from this 1.3 or 1.4. That's why we are doing all the Angular.js, whatever. If I want to migrate my application from 1.3 to v2, we have to follow some kind of structures. Like instead of using $scope, we can use this object. And instead of using the direct controllers, you can use the alias. Like now normally in the Angular.js we'll mention ng controller equal to some my controller name alone. But we want to migrate it to the Angular.js too. So we have to do it in some proper way. That is, instead of just mentioning your controller name, we can mention it as my ng controller equal to my controller some alias name. So this will be really easy whenever we migrate to Angular.js 2 from 1.3 or 1.4. Okay. Yes, I got one more question from Vamsi asking, is Angular.js 2.0 using EMCS script? Yes, everyone knows about this. Now this Angular.js 2.0 is using this EMCA. EMCA is the advanced version of the script now you are using. It is like kind of Java. So you can write your classes over there in the JavaScript. Now this Angular.js 2.0 is built on EMCA script. Okay, let's start the session. Okay, now what is Angular.js? Angular.js is a JavaScript framework created by Google. Before this, Misko and Adam created this Angular.js library, then it has been taken by the Google. So they are supporting this Angular.js framework now. Okay, so whenever we use this Angular.js framework, as from the web developers or the designers, it will give more control to the application. Normally, in the old application, whenever we use JSP or ASP.NET, almost all the business logics we will be implementing in the server side alone. In client side, just we will get the user data, maximum of the validation. That's it we will do. But now whenever we use this kind of JavaScript frameworks in the server side, it is giving more control on the client side itself. And the one more thing is, this AngularJS is not much different from the HTML element tags. So it is really similar to this HTML and JavaScript. So it is really simple to learn. So if you see this Misko saying, whenever you want to develop an application with this AngularJS, you need not to think this as a framework. So you can think it as our own DSL. DSL means domain specific language. In this, using this AngularJS, we can create our own elements like HTML elements. We have something like a p tag, input tag, or body. These are all the elements. In the same way, we can create the elements using this AngularJS directive. So these directives will be useful. So for this particular element, you can give, this is the functionality for this element. For example, if you see this p tag, the p tag will be having some margin and the padding, everything default. In the same, and if you see this input tag, it will be having some kind of functionalities. In the same way, I can create my own tag, new Angular. So I can create it as a new Angular tag, and this particular tag I can use some functionalities. Like whenever mouse over on this tab, show some popovers. Like I can create my own functionalities on this elements. Okay. What are all the challenges of web development we have now? So now there are more users in mobile phone, tablet and laptops. So whenever you build a particular web application, so that should support in each and every devices. Then next one is user preference. If you see, some user wants to see the data in normal tabular format, but some other people want to see the data in nice graphical manner. Like you might have seen in everything D3 and other graphs. So it is depends on the each and every users. But we have to achieve everything whenever we build this application and the skill set. If you see, whenever you are working on this particular application, so we need resource to develop those applications. So we need the skill set also for that. The next big stuff is agility. That is, whenever we build a particular application, we will be keep on new changes from our product owners or the client. So we should be able to take those changes and implement it in our application very small time. These are all the challenges what we are facing whenever we do this web development. Okay, let's see whether can we come up with these changes in the AngularJS. Okay, whether is it supported in the multi devices? Yes, AngularJS is supported in all the devices, mobile, laptop as well as tablet, and it will run in all the operating systems because it is running on this client side, that is on the browser. Then this user preference, we can show the data because this AngularJS is a two-way binding and we have the separate model and view. So we can show the data in different kind of views. A single data can be shown in the different views. So it is really simple. And skill set. As we discussed already, we have more skilled person on this AngularJS compared to other frameworks. So it is really helpful for the development. Okay, agility. This is the main thing. Whenever we build some particular component, we will be getting a new change over there from our product owner. Is it really implement from the Angular? Can we implement from this AngularJS? Yeah, because each and every page will act as a separate controllers. So whenever we get a new changes, we can implement it another controller over there. So we can adapt to the new changes whenever we build this web application using AngularJS. Why should I learn AngularJS? One is more control. Already we discussed this one. If the old application and all, we'll be writing all the business logic in the server side. But now you can write the business logic, not only the validation, all kind of logics inside this controller itself. So it is giving more control on the application from the client side itself. So it will improve the performance, because for simple business logic, if I want to hit the server and do that logic, getting back the data, instead of that, I can do that logic inside my web browser itself. So it will improve the performance. Next one, simplicity. This AngularJS, it is really simple and clean. So what does it mean is, this each and every AngularJS directives and the functions, everything is similar to our HTML tag and this normal JavaScript function. So it is easy to learn AngularJS. Next one, testing. So whenever we build an application, we should be able to do unit test cases, as well as we have to write the testing also for this application. If you use this AngularJS, we can write the testing using Mocha or this protector tool. We can write end-to-end automated test cases. Flexible and extensible. Now, we are building a particular web application with some other language. Let's say we are building with jQuery. Is it flexible? Will it adapt our AngularJS in the application? Yes, it is. So whenever I build application, the separate module alone I can build with the AngularJS. In the same way, if I already build the application with AngularJS, can I extend that application? Yes. Because in your AngularJS, each and every components, you will be creating it as a controllers. So what you will be doing? For example, now I have one user application. The user can log into this application, then they can add the user, they can delete the user. I want to give new functionality over there. Just I want update the user also. So this add user and delete user will be the separate module, and I can add one more module simply to update the user. It will be the third controller to it. It is really easy to extend this application. Popularity. Already we have seen these graphs. So it is rich. Now there are more companies are using this AngularJS and more products are using this, and we are getting more developers for this AngularJS also. Okay. What are all the features of AngularJS? If you ask me, the best feature in AngularJS is two-way binding. Okay. What is this two-way binding? Whenever you change an object in your model, automatically your view will get updated. In the same way, if you change the view, the model will get updated. It's called two-way binding. So you need not to write any code for updating view and model separately. So this will be taken care of this $watch service. The next one is filters. What is it, filters? Okay, I want to get the date and I want to format it to the user. For example, we will be storing the date as a data object in our DB. But if I show the same data object to the user again in the view page, that doesn't make any sense. But so I have to format the date and I want to show it as a human readable, like DDMMYY or MMDDYY in the summer format. So in this AngularJS, we have the own filters like date filter, toUpper, toLower, and JSON, these things. So with these filter, we can format the data as ever we want in simple way. Next one is the best one, is the dependency injection. Okay. So for now, I want to build a basic AngularJS application. At the time, I don't want to do this UI routing, or I don't want to do this bootstrap and other stuff. Okay. At the time, I can create my application with simple AngularJS file itself. It is just 35 or 40 KB of size. Okay. In the same way, whenever I want to build the biggest application, at the time, whatever the components I want, I can inject it as a dependency injection. So whenever you want to build a simple application, it will be simple, and the complex application, whatever you need, only those components we are injecting. It is not like some other frameworks, all the functionalities will be available. So whatever you want, just use it. It is not like that. So whenever you have all the functionalities inside your application, So it will increase your size of this particular application. It will affect the performance. That's why this dependency injection came to the picture. Next one is scope. Scope is it is like an instance of your class. So with the scope, you can access all the variables and functions inside your controller. In the same way, if you give some data to the scope, automatically it will update your view. This is what, because $watch service will be always listening for the scope variables. Whenever the scope variable changes, the $watch service trigger an event to the view. Okay, this particular scope variable changes, update the view. So view automatically gets updated. In the same way, if any change happens in the view, it will update the scope variable. So we need not to write any code for this. The next one is directives. Okay, what is this directives? If you see this Angular.js, you can see something called ng app or ng controller, ng click. These are all the directives built in this Angular.js itself. In the same way, we can build our own custom directives. For example, we have this ng click directive. What is it doing? Whenever I click, it is calling some particular functionality. In the same way, I want to build some directive like, okay, whenever I click on this, open the pop-up. I can create that kind of directive. This is the use of directives.